Welcome, Ruth. So this is a non-duality meeting on Christmas. Merry Christmas. And this will be a smaller group because many people are with their families and things right now. Thank you for being here. The reason I'm lying down, if you weren't here last week, is because I'm got some physical injuries in this body, so just having to lie down for now. And let's see, announcements first. You could go to nothing.fm for all the latest updates, to see what's coming up in the future. There's new talks, questions and answers, interviews, and retreats happening every month. So you could go there to, oops. Let's see. I'm going to post my announcements here in the chat. So I've been hosting non-duality discussion groups like this for the last couple years. And I just posted in the chat my email, so you could email me or message me on Facebook, and I could give you more information about our weekly meetings on Wednesdays and Sundays if you like. And yeah, if you'd like to donate, you can do that too. And yeah, every Friday there's new content from Nothing FM. And next month, Jim Newman is holding a virtual retreat. I love Jim Newman, and I think that's a great opportunity. If you haven't had the chance to engage with him, it should be a lot of time listening to him talk about nothing. So, but I love how he talks about it. So it's the solstice has just passed. Hanukkah has passed. Today is Christmas. The New Year's coming up. I think this time of year has a lot to do with the cycle of rebirth in duality, because the sun gives life. Yeah, the sun is where life comes from in many ways, apparently, that we evolved from as human bodies. And I think, it's like the circadian rhythms, where, there's certain time, if you sleep certain times at night, your body goes in sync with that. And there's scientific studies on how sleeping the same hours every night and sleeping during certain hours, rising with the sun, this sort of thing is very good for the body. And I think in a similar way, our bodies have evolved with these cycles of the solstice, the shortest day of the year, and then the longest day of the year is in the summer. And yeah, I just find that interesting. It's kind of a story about duality, of course, but I don't think we're going to talk about non-duality in this meeting. We could try, but like Paul Hederman always says, or sometimes says, this is a meeting about non-duality, but we're just going to discuss duality. But that's kind of the paradox of it. How can you talk about non-duality when language itself is duality? Concepts are duality. Like the word nothing, or God, or love, they're all beautiful words that may resonate, but yeah, some say they're pointers to that which can't be said. So with that opening statement, I want to say welcome Rose, Trisha, Yasmin. If the group, yeah, we could just probably unmute everybody right now if you like. It's a small enough group. So if you'd like to unmute, go ahead. And if you'd like to share or ask anything, go ahead. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Rob.
Hi.
Where are you calling from, Rob?
UK. I'm from near Derby in the UK, in the Midlands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's on your mind? What would you like to share?
Um, I don't know. At the moment, I don't have a lot to share, really. I'm more come to these meetings and listen rather than speak.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm really interested in this subject. Um, I don't have a lot to say at the moment.
It's funny being interested in a subject that you can't really describe.
No, you can't describe it. I do my best.
Yeah.
Like with a close friend of mine, because it's really about it's about everything and one's life. And yeah, ultimately we do, I suppose maybe we only have duality to discuss. Yeah, because non-duality is just is everything. But I do go a bit blank.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend call me the other night, and the first question he asked me, he said, "What is this group that you're doing? What is this thing I've never heard of, non-duality?" And I didn't even know what to say. You know,
Yeah.
eventually in the conversation, it came to me. I said, well, it's kind of like how his name is Michael, and I said it's kind of like how Michael doesn't really exist. There is no
Right.
Michael, and then he said, well, there is no art either, right? And I said, no, there is an art.
Ah.
Because I was just joking with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't exist, but I do.
Right.
but but yeah, these are all pointers. You know, they're all meant to be pointers. And I want to repeat what I said last week. There's certain quotes that stick with me for a while, and one of them right now is this thing that U.G. Krishnamurti said,
Mm.
where he said that, if this shift in awareness happens for you, which doesn't really happen,
Mm.
then it will be expressed in a totally unique way that has never been
Mm.
seen before.
Yeah. Yeah, and it already is being expressed by everyone as well, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where that Zen saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It's the way that
Yeah.
the way that it looks. It's just you. It's just this already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. My expression of life, or if you can call it that, is totally me. And that there's no, I mean, that's why I was talking about with a friend earlier, and there's really no escaping that. Like we're each totally unique, or and at the same time there's nothing happening. I mean, it's really um it's a beautiful message, though. It is beautiful to be around as well. So I'm glad that these kind of groups happen a lot, which is wonderful. Yeah, I often find that when I'm speaking to people that don't have any on any knowledge of this in existence, and and they're describing their personal problems to me, I find that I can't share this message with them somehow. This message doesn't seem to reach them. It just doesn't come out of my mouth, or I couldn't possibly. I don't even bother asking them to watch a Tony Parsons video, or it just seems to. They seem to avoid it. It just doesn't seem to come out of me, even though it's kind of on the tip of my tongue to say, well, you know, your problems, they are just what they are, and that there's.
Oh, that's the beauty of it, is if you're drawn to this, you're drawn to it. And if you're not, it doesn't really matter. That's the beauty of it. You know,
No.
because this isn't trying to fix anything. You know, I heard Jim Newman say this beautiful thing, you know, that it was in some interview where he said you can't fix duality, you know, or he asked the interviewer, do you want to fix duality? You know, this duality world is a dance that never ends, and
Yeah.
there's a beauty to it, there's a tragedy to it. You know, if you're drawn to this sort of thing, this sort of meeting, then there's a resonance for that.
That brings up a good point. Is, you know, this message is in a way freedom, and everybody is free in a way, but we all have loved ones, and we all see other people that are suffering. So Rob, yeah, you're right. It's like if you're not drawn to the message, then it doesn't resonate. But there also is for me, so to speak, is there's a yearning to also share with others, but nothing can be done really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was just one moment where this lady, and it was so close to coming out of my mouth, but it, for some reason, it just didn't. You know, it just didn't happen. It just seemed to evade her. Yeah, not sort of dropping into her world, if there's such a thing. But there can be. You can want to share it, but you know, you just don't share it with quite a lot of people. I don't, anyway.
Same here. I mean, in a way, that's why these meetings are important because it's like a support group for nobody. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, they're just nice meetings, I think.
yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, now Nisargadatta could actually be harmful if you try to impose this message on someone who doesn't want it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't think it's really possible. I mean, I think it's like if you're trying to, it's like if somebody is born gay and you try to put them in a camp or something, or psychology to make them straight because of religion or whatever. It's probably not going to work. You know, I think people are just drawn to what they're drawn to. It's whether it's genetic or who knows what. You know, there doesn't have to be a reason. I mean, there's no reason at the bottom, and that's the beauty of this message, is that this is all causeless, acausal. You know, that's the level that we usually speak about with this message. I like to sort of talk about duality more, but something about this time of year, it just feels very silent, very quiet, very, you know, everyone is just being with their family, opening presents, being more present than usual, maybe not, but it's like Ramana Maharshi said this thing that I really like about happiness, where he said that you are happiness. Like it's actually what you are. You are happiness that you seek. And what appears to happen is you think that something is going to make you happy, or some awful thing is going to go away and then you'll be happy. But what he says actually happens is the mind sort of covers up like the whole story of what is needed to be happy, whether it's understanding what someone like Tony Parson is saying, or getting a new car, or being free of debt, or whatever, or recovered from injuries. This is just a story the mind thinks it needs to be happy, and once you get it, if you get it, then the mind just shuts up for a minute, and the happiness that you feel is from the mind shutting up, because you are happiness. It's the whole story of the mind that gets in the way of that just being. And there's still ups and downs in life, so you're not always going to feel, maybe this is a different meaning of happiness that Ramana means, but it's like the ancient Sanskrit word where they talk about bliss, but I don't think they mean like the kind of bliss you get from awesome stuff happening necessarily. It's just a quiet bliss. It's a quiet underneath.
Mm.
Maybe. Yeah, Carlton.
Hi.
Would you like to?
Not at the moment.
All right. Thanks. Merry Christmas, Carlton. Thanks for
Merry
being
Christmas to you. Yeah.
here. Yes. Eva, would you like to share? Eva?
I'm here. I don't have anything, but I would like to say I recognize you from, I've seen the meeting with Paul Heddeman on YouTube. So I didn't know who you were, but now I can see I have seen some YouTube videos with him. And I'm just happy to be here. It's restful. And I will have to leave in a little bit, but so I thank you for your presence.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you for your presence.
Thank you. Mm.
Let's see. Nadja. Where are you calling from, Nadja? Oh, I can't hear you, Nadja. I think your microphone is not connected.
I should take my headphones.
Oh, that works. I can hear you now.
Like this. Okay. I'm
That's
from
good.
Slovenia.
Slovenia. Cool.
You know where it is?
No, not exactly.
It's the neighbor country from Austria, to the south of Austria and to the east of Italy.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
So this is all ex-Yugoslavia part. For anyone who is a bit older, should know maybe.
I have ancestors from Yugoslavia, so.
Really?
Yeah.
You know which part?
No.
Croatia, Serbia.
Not off the top of my head, no.
Uh-huh. And you're from?
I'm from I'm living in Texas.
Ah. Yeah, can you hear this?
Let's see. People are having trouble getting the link. There's no one helping me today. That's okay. Need to forward it. Well, yeah, I'm from Texas. That's where I lived and grew up. I'm in Austin right now. That's where I've lived for the last 15 years, pretty much.
Yeah, a lot of people went to America from this region.
Yes, yes. So,
Yeah.
so what would you like to share your experience of
Well,
this?
yeah. Um, I was an obsessed seeker, like Jim would say. I like to listen to Jim,
Yes.
and it happened like not so long ago. Um, first, first in my search, I came to Andreas,
Yes.
and then from Andreas to Jim. And the first video I put on of Jim, I felt like a coldness, and in my back,
Wow.
whole of my back was like there was a wind blowing, and it was like um, I felt empty, and it lasted like for. I mean, it's still here somehow, but the mind is trying to come in and everything, but somehow it cannot grab hold of it. So it seemed to be like contracting and expanding everything.
Yeah.
Today felt like I felt the absolute freedom that I'm not bound to any form, and it was like I remember from before like very short so-called glimpses of it or something, but this was like today was something that's it. It's totally undeniable and unforgettable, and I guess the knowingness will also, when I will be engaged in some apparent me story or something, this is like this cannot be erased, and I wonder I'm excited how this will be with this new feeling. Everything, nothing seems so serious. I mean, not so serious. Nothing seems serious at all. um, it's like it is and it isn't.
Yeah.
But somehow this isn't this stronger. It's like it's just everything exists in this, and I don't have any need to know what this is, because before I always wanted to know. This was like and it was like it was a lot of suffering for myself, for my family, and came from this, my so-called contraction, right? Or this push to know, to control, to
So has that softened? Has your grip on that loosened? Wanting to.
yeah, yeah. And I also got like there is nothing to be afraid of. You know, I was afraid for so long. Always like to, I have to defend myself from something, or And it was this recognition, there is really nothing to be afraid of. There is like, this is like total, this idea is completely insane that there is something to be afraid of, that there is something that wants to do you harm or something. This is total insanity. But then how to also
What?
how to say, how to explain this to someone, right? I also talked with a friend of mine. He's very much into this situation that is happening now with the virus and everything, and he freaked out, like, how can you be so indifferent? How can you not do anything? And and it's just impossible to explain. Although I feel I'm in this state, I'm not contributing to the madness, but somebody from the outside who is involved in this, like fighting against or something, they name this like, this is like passive state, this is like not doing any good. And I can see that good and bad, this is all the same. If you fight something, you will become this against you fight. This is obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a flow, it's like the word Tao, the Taoism. It's just the flow of what appears. And this could appear as being passive and being relaxed. This could also appear as being, it could appear as being agitated or afraid or angry. The freedom of what is means it doesn't have to be anything. But when you see this somehow, the character does appear to travel lighter. The grip does appear to loosen on what was held so tightly. But even after that, the character just does what it does. And the way you're speaking, Nadja, is very beautiful. Very beautiful what you're saying to me. But everybody's different. Every character's different. This doesn't negate our apparent individuality. It gives the freedom for that to be. I mean, it is freedom. It can't give or take away freedom. But yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
and this individuality. Yeah, can I also say something
Oh
more?
yes, please continue. Yeah.
Yeah, this apparent individuality. Um, um, all the concepts that we learned about it from studies, from, like, this is something you have to be an individual or something, like this is the goal of the life, or I don't know what. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, um, and then when I wanted, like, to do it right, and I mean, I really lost it. I lost it. There were some years when I was not able to function because of, I was so much in my mind and trying to do the right thing and get the right
Yeah.
information or something. And
Yeah.
now this issue of individuality, I don't know how to describe it, but it's not like it's I don't feel it. It's like, this is not personal. This is not mine. This is not
Yeah.
And maybe the only sense of individuality is because it can, what is experienced here,
Yeah.
and this is like the only meaning of individuality. Or
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You know. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because you could try to be the right individual, or let's say the mind. The mind is always trying to do something. So the mind could try to be the right kind of individual and make the best choices and always be frustrated. The mind could also try to be nothing, try to be no thing, try to be no one, try to be impersonal. The mind will claim and try to do anything. The beauty of this is that nothing is needed to do. It's already whole. It's already nothing. It's already perfect. And that even includes the mind and all of its, you know, programming. Yeah, it's freedom from needing to be anything, Naja, I think. Yeah, but that freedom from needing to be a certain kind of individual is beautiful. Yeah. And you know the name of Jim Newman's website, I think, is alreadythis.com. I think. It's already this. There's nothing to do to be this. You don't have to even drop the individuality. You don't have to be released of the contracted energy in the body doesn't have to be released. That may appear to happen, maybe it doesn't. But this is already whole. Yeah, and when I say individuality, I guess this is what you when you're saying what's happening here. Yeah, so you know, no two snowflakes are the same, you know, apparently. Shord. How do you pronounce your name? Jord?
Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How do you pronounce your name?
No, sorry. This is the name of my husband. His name is Shurd, and
Oh.
I'm Sophie.
Oh, Sophie. Welcome, Sophie. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Portugal.
Portugal. Wonderful. Merry Christmas.
Do you know, Merry Christmas to you too. Do you know where it is?
Yes, yes. Yeah, Portugal seems like a very beautiful country.
It
I
is.
love yeah.
It's quite peaceful here. And nice weather, nice people. It's very calm.
Yeah,
there's
a history.
Yeah.
There's a history of spiritual teachers in Portugal as well.
Is it?
A little bit.
I'm still looking for it.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I moved from here like 6 years ago. I used to live in Amsterdam for many years, and
Okay.
it's very different here in Europe. It's the other side of Europe. Not very well discovered, but really nice to be here.
Yeah, close to the ocean.
Yeah, and fresh air, no really industry around here. It's really going like back in the time where I live. You go back.
Well,
which is really nice.
Is it Sophia or Sophie?
It is just Sophie.
Oh, okay. I messed up.
Oh, you changed my name.
I'll fix it. Yes. So Sophie, what is your experience like? what would you like to share?
I don't know. There's so many things. I really listen to various speakers, and I think I'm that kind of person that likes to integrate all kind of stuff together.
Yes, I like that too.
Yeah, because one say this and the other say that, and there is many stories, but at the end of the day, there is like they're all pointing to the same thing, and the story doesn't really matter at the end. All the stories do not really matter.
Right.
And they all try to describe the indescribable, which is impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And there are so many stories, and it's very easy really to dwell in them. Like, is it this, or is it that, or is it? And from my perspective, I mean, it's really, really funny because I was a seeker, but I didn't really know what I was seeking. I think I was seeking love. I tried to understand what love is. And then I thought it was like, have to do with the relationship and with the other person. And I had to discover it's not that. And 5 years ago, there was really a very huge force moving in my body. And it changed like everything I knew. And I tried to make the story very short because I can talk, of course, with a lot of details. But that force, I mean, that force, sorry?
Oh, we have some time, so and not too.
Right, right. So this force was working for 5 months in the body, and it's really changed many things. And I had really different experiences, like some of them were very mystical, some of them very physical, and some of them very emotional, all kind of expansions and great feeling of unity. But at the same time, there was also a period when the sense of self really dropped away. So I really got a sense what that was. It was seen very, very strongly. And after that 5 months, everything started to go like backwards, and I started losing all of it. But after 5 years, I'm like 5 years into that thing, and the energy at the moment really sort of that force, whatever that is, I think some call it Kundalini. I just don't like to use that word. It give it like some kind of spiritual thing, which it is not. It's a very, very physical thing.
Yeah.
And for 4 years now, it's actually tried to find a new way of being or living life. It's really sort of changed very slowly. It really breaks down really a lot of things to me. And I try to, I think in a sense, to try to see what is actually happening, because I'm losing a lot of things. There's really a great loss of in the way of being.
Right.
And there is a very slow, but very gradual. There is a lot of space is being created, but it's such a different way of like how other talks about that. I mean, like, and I don't know if it's like at the end or if there is an end. I mean, I don't even know if it's in the process, but because there is many things being thrown out the system, like, and I think a lot of conditioning and also a lot of trauma is falling away.
Yeah.
But I mean, usually it is not really being spoken about, all that kind of conditioning and traumas.
Oh yes, right. Well,
And
it depends.
yeah. I mean, if you listen to Tony or you listen to Jim or you listen to Andreas, I mean, they only touch it like within the framework of a story.
Yes.
so for me, it's very interesting because it's like, but that part, I mean, I think everybody has some kind of a trauma. Everybody have conditioning, I think.
Yes, well, Sophie, I think I think there's a lot of confusion around the what I'm going to call the levels of non-duality and duality.
Right.
And so the speakers, Jim, Tony, and Andreas, all pretty much speak 99% of the time at least at the level of non-duality entirely, which which is a pointer to that which cannot be known or said. And if you read Ramana Maharshi and Nisargadatta, they did this too, but they would also speak at the duality level when people kind of urged them to. And Ramana said he did it out of compassion. And he said it wasn't necessarily a good thing. You know, there's a story that I heard recently where Ramana Maharshi, you know, the great sage of India, you know, and some of his devotees were asking him if they were ready to be teachers themselves, if they could go out and teach. And he said, yeah, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. And they said, why not? And he said, because of compassion. And they said, what do you mean? And he said, well, you'll have so much compassion that you'll water down the message. You'll dilute the message. And so that's a very interesting story, you know. And for me, for this apparent body mind, I really enjoy going into all of it. Kind of like you said at the beginning of this.
Yes, true.
You know, I really enjoy all of it. You know, I mean, if the stories get a little too crazy, you know, then maybe I lose interest. But just what resonates for me is what resonates for me, and I wouldn't impose it on anyone. You know, lately I've been doing like a chakra meditation, which I enjoy. You know, I wouldn't say it's to get anywhere, you know, at an end point, because everything is already perfect as it is. But in the same way, where if you feel like you need to change your diet for the health of your body, or you need to exercise, you know, maybe you feel you need to change your friends or relationship, you know, and maybe you need to see a therapist, you know, because the body mind, I mean, what you're saying is true, Sophie, that when you listen to these non-duality speakers and you soak it in and you resonate with that, a lot of trauma can go away. A lot of things can appear to happen, but there's no guarantee they'll happen. And you may still need a therapist. You may still need to change your environment or friends or diet. So, you know, that, and what you're saying is true. Everything continues to change, and there is no end. There's never an end to duality. Like Jim Newman saying, are you trying to fix duality? Are you trying to bring duality to the finish line? It's never going to happen. And so, you know, but it's still a beautiful dance. It's all just a beautiful dance if you can enjoy it. And the non-duality speakers, the non-duality message might be the most beautiful part of it if you resonate. And it is love, you know, and it's not the love you can describe. It's not the love you can even experience. You know, this unconditional love is wholeness. It's everything.
Can I say something, Art?
Yeah.
How can the message be watered down?
Well, Ramana, going back to Ramana, where that quote comes from, apparently. I'm saying apparently because I haven't read the quote. I heard Paul Hederman say that story.
Okay.
But yeah, the message could be watered down according to Ramana, and that's just one body mind. I'm not putting Ramana on a pedestal and saying he had it all figured out. No, Ramana didn't even exist, you know, any more than you or I exist. You know, it's just energy flowing. But okay, but to answer your question, what Ramana meant by that was, first of all, he said his highest teaching was silence. So the moment he opens his mouth to say anything, it's watered down. I think he said that the silence is like pure energy. I think he described it this way. He said it's like electricity. It's pure electricity in the silence. And the moment you put words in there, it's like resistors. You're adding to the circuitry.
No, I see. I just didn't know. I'm not really familiar with him very much. So I just wanted to know if you were understood kind of what he was meaning by that.
Yeah. I think does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Cool.
I wanted to add that I have a deep recognition or resonance with the message, with what they talk about that nothing, and I really deeply feel that, and I know it to be true. I know it to be true, and at the same time, sometimes when they speak about it, the way they speak about it, it's just sometimes sounds too clean, and I know it's all about like pointing again and again and again to the same thing, but it's like, I don't know how to say that. I really don't know how to say that.
I know what you mean, Sophie. Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm just saying I know what you mean.
Yeah, I have really deeply appreciation for the work because it's huge, and I think really privileged in a sense to be able to join and to listen, because there are really not many people who feel drawn to that. So this is one side of the coin. Like, it's amazing. I mean, I studied with U.G. Krishnamurti, and he was for me really the only one that was so incredibly different in a sense, in the way he was and lived his life. But and I was also very privileged to be able to join the meetings with Tony Parsons and also to listen to the speakers. But it sounds sometimes really too clean, because there are also the other part of it that you call non-duality. And it's not like we have to sit together and to talk about all the stories and everything. But yeah, I just miss it sometimes.
Well,
like
so
if somebody said like, what about the trauma? And they say, okay, it's a story, it's just part of the story. And many people think like that it does not matter, that it does not like important enough. So there's a little bit of risk in that.
So, Sophie, I feel like to me, it's like music. It's like, well, and what I mean by that in this context, I mean, like one person will just really want to hear classical music, and
right.
as soon as they hear anything modern in it, like drums or electric guitar or electronics, keyboards, they just immediately don't want that. They just want the classical music.
Right.
And so I think it's similar, where some people are drawn. Well, I think everyone in here has probably been, very drawn to people like Tony Parsons at different times. And I think the message there is so clear. And it's like you said, it's so clean, you almost want to add some dirt to it. That's almost like you want to add the drums or guitar of the trauma. Or maybe I want to hear him talk about it. Who knows? But this is, yeah, but there's no right way. It's like UG said.
That's true. That's true.
Everyone will express this. Everyone will express this their own unique way. And I love Tony Parsons as much as I love Byron Katie. And Byron Katie focuses entirely on the trauma, and she uses the trauma as a way to see that there is no one who has trauma. But she starts...
Art, let me ask, sorry that I disturb you, but do you think like the Jim or Andreas or whatever, they do not have any traumas left anymore, or they don't have any conditioning that bothers them anymore?
I think the body minds. Well, think about it like this, Sophie. Is there such? Do you think a person? Do you think a human being could be perfect? Like fit or you think? I mean, human beings are gonna all die. Look at it
Right.
that way. I mean, that's trauma. You know, human beings are all gonna get sick or injured at some point. So the body mind, you know, of Jim Newman and Tony Parsons, the apparent character could be or do anything. You know, the message that they're speaking is that there is no Jim, there is no Tony, and they're speaking from that non-duality level where everything is whole and perfect already, and there's nothing to hold on to, and there's nothing to fix. There's nothing to improve or make worse because it's already all whole. So yeah, I think if Jim Newman stubbed his toe, he might say "ouch." You know,
I hope so.
if I had to guess. You know? That, or as Jim Newman would say, that's what there. You know, that's what would appear, or you know, yeah, would
Yeah.
appear that way. It would appear that way, but knowing what's really happening is impossible. That's the message.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at science and quantum physics, there's always this look into what's really here. You know, is it a hand? It turns out it's all empty space, 99%, and particles coming in and out of time. It's, but they don't, but then maybe they look closer and they see that's not even the bottom. There's no bottom. There's no fundamental reality. There's nothing knowable. You know, everything is unknowable. And the brain creates this, you know, sense of a separate identity. That's what appears to happen. And there's a freedom in seeing that. There's a lightness in seeing that.
It's interesting, like in the past time I used to think like if like there is no sense of self, that like something really special would happen and like reality would be different and you would see like glowing things everywhere, and you know, and when there was period of time when there were no sense of self. It's a very subtle thing. It's like very subtle. It's like nearly this. It's just actually the same, just that there's no one doing anything. Nobody's just in control of doing anything, and it's just so obvious. It's
Right.
so obvious that everything just happens by itself, and
Yeah.
and you don't even have to do anything. There is no agenda. There's nowhere to go. There's really no one doing anything at all. But the life stayed the same. That's the thing. And this is quite, I mean, there is some, it's like, it's very subtle. I used to think it's something very spectacular, very like, very different, but it's just really living this life in this body. But it's a much lighter way of living life because you don't really care. And so many things really do not matter anymore. And you stop pretending. You really stop pretending.
Beautiful, Sophie.
And I think the simplicity, it just gets so incredibly simple. It's like we just are so burdened about all the stories and everything that we think it should be right and it should be that, and it can create such a noise. And when that's really, it's not there anymore. Yeah, it's become to be very, very quiet. But not like that there is no thoughts anymore. It's just like, it's really exactly as it is. It's just exactly as it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sophie. Beautiful. Yeah, would someone else like to speak who hasn't yet? Harvey, I was wondering if you'd like to, if you're around. or Loretta, Otto, Rose, Trisha. Would anyone like to share who hasn't yet?
Yeah. Art?
Carlton.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Let me just see if I can do this. Okay. Hi.
Hi, Carlton. Where are you calling from?
England, UK.
Good. Good.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I've been I was a Sikh. I still am. I don't know if I am or not. I don't know anything like that. But I've been a Sikh all my life, mainly because of I have quite extreme mood swings, bipolar.
Yeah.
So you get huge depressions for the last 70 years. You get depressions, and you always look for answers in religion, meditation, a lot of that type of thing. And a couple of years ago, I came across Tony Parsons, a friend introduced me to him. And as I think someone else said, I forgot their name, they said something, it's very ordinary, and it's not what you think it is. And things don't change as such. Well, things happen. And intense emotions come and go. I can say that. And this year, in this kind of COVID experience we're having at the moment, and the lockdown, things just happened, and I felt I was in what you call a free fall. There was no ground anymore.
Yeah.
It just, I was quite nervous about it, and I actually went back into counselling because I wanted some ground. And then I think since I got used to it, and because I've had, say, well, this apparent me has had, whatever you want to call it, about 50 years of depression, comes on every year. I'm now in the middle of a depression, and I wondered how I would respond to this depression or what would happen. And it's just quite, what can I say? I've just wondered how the depression would be. I don't know who wondered, but I wondered. And it's, I get intense moments of despair coming. I'm just out walking in the country, and I just had this overwhelming sadness come over me. It lasted for 4 minutes, and was it for me or was it for no one? I couldn't tell you, but it was there, and it's gone now. But I live with the symptoms of it. There's Carlton's way of being for the last 50 years has been quite regular depressions every year. So there's a depression here, and the place gets messy, and things just carry on. My kind of, I don't know, I just, what's the word for it? I get these long silences that occur within inside me. They're just there. It just happens.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate you sharing all that, Carlton. It's, yeah, sounds like the character Carlton is just, what if that's what's happening? That's what's appearing to happen. And, this message of Tony Parsons of there's no one and there's nothing happening. Nothing is apparently happening. It's, as that resonates, the character may travel lighter. Maybe, maybe not. that things do seem to get simpler, like Sophie and Naja were saying. There's just things become simpler, when there's less and less story, I think, with this. And that might look like less depression. It might over time. It might also look like just an acceptance of the depression coming and going, like anything else appearing and leaving, or the need for counseling at certain times of the year to help the character, just on that level. Paul Hederman is a teacher of this, and he hosts alcohol, like 12-step addiction meetings every week. And so, and he says, that's just the character. Even though this is seen by no one, the character, if it gets a drink in it, it might die of a cocaine overdose within a week for someone like Paul and many others. So it's letting it all just happen as it happens, like you said, for no one, just on its own. And the less story there is attached to it, the simpler it might be, just whether it's, like I said, to just,
yeah. That's what's happening. And
I mean, the way you described that, Carlton, that there was a depression that came up for 4 minutes and then it went away, and you didn't know if it happened for no one. I mean, that's just a beautiful description of how everything is like that. Everything comes and goes.
yes, yeah. Feeling, it comes and goes. And I don't know. There, I was just out walking, and huge despair came over, and it just came over and just was there, and just, I don't know, it just was there. Maybe for no one, but it was there.
Yeah.
And I just be, or I didn't let it be, it just was being.
Well, like, I like the way this teacher who's deceased, Ramesh Balkasar, he says that everything is genetics and up-to-date conditioning. So it's really just the physics of this apparent world playing itself out.
That's right. Yeah. And that's why I'm beginning to see it now. That's what's happening.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Carlton. Anne, would you like to share? It looks like you're back home now with your Christmas tree.
Hi, yeah, I'm back with my Christmas tree. Yeah, it's Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
It's Merry Christmas. I've never really been into Christmas, but I don't know, the last 2 years has sort of got a lot lighter, as I think a lot of people have been saying, and I'm enjoying the celebration. I've just been with my sister and a few of her friends having Christmas lunch, so I can hardly breathe at the moment. I've eaten so much. I'm just going to have to fast for like a month. I mean, I've just eaten. I'm such a chocolate addict. I mean, I can't drink alcohol anymore because I've blown all that up, just did too much of it. Yeah. And now it's onto the chocolate addiction. So, all these chocolates around, and I've just stuffed myself with them. In fact, I've had to come away to stop eating it, really. Yeah, so it's great. It's, I don't know. I mean, I was torn between staying there and coming away for this meeting, and it just seems when I'm around people, this love sort of amplifies. It's just strange, it doesn't matter who it is. Whenever I get around people, there's just this amplification of love. and it's really nice, you know. It's very childlike. It feels very fresh and childlike and very quite excitable, you know. It's different, you know. My life's been quite heavy up till the last few years, and then just gradually getting more and more lighter, with things dropping away with non-duality and coming through that whole seeming process, although it's not a process, it feels like one. So it's just nice. I'm just enjoying Christmas, and yeah. How are you, Art? How's things?
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, everything's with the body is improving. His wrist and the knee injury. And yeah, I guess, yeah, on the personal level, even though everything is impersonal, you know, it's really incredible. You know, I love the story of the solstice. I see Julie is here. Hello, Julie. and and I love this whole story of the changing of the astrological age. I'm not really into astrology too much, but I just like that idea that there's a change happening, you know. I like the story, you know, of more this age of Aquarius is supposed to be more community, more love, less authority. You know, Jiddu Krishnamurti, he said, no authority. That was one of his mantras, no authority. And you know, the Buddha said to, you know, like, look at things for yourself. Don't take his word for it. G. Krishnamurti said, this will show up for you in a way it has never shown up before. So that, which means you can't trust any authority. And so this feels like, I just love that story. We'll see what happens. I have no idea what'll happen, but I love the story of it. And I love what you just said, Anne, about love. You know, it's when you're around anybody now, there's more of a love there. It's
Excuse me.
it's like, yeah, you know, it's what Tim Kliss and Michael Markham, these speakers, they call the humanness, where Tim Kliss said a couple of weeks ago in his meeting, he said that he used to, when he was a seeker, he used to think about transcending or going beyond something. But now it feels more like a falling down, like a falling down into the human, into what is experienced just as a human.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's like
And
just being able to enjoy being human in a way that I never have before. You know, just being able to live it and enjoy it and be totally, in a way, present with it, but yet not present as well. It's just strange. It's just, you know, sort of here but not here. Totally here, 100% here. Totally 100% human, and totally 100% not human. It's so beautiful. It's just so extraordinary and ordinary, you know, and I hate all these cliches I'm using, but they are the best words to describe it. So it's amazing in that way.
Yeah, and even if you use the same words, they sound differently, you know? If energy is different because it's from you. And it's like you could listen to Tony or Naho Owada. And I asked Naho during that retreat 2 weeks ago, I asked her, what is the difference between her, is there any difference in how she speaks about this versus Tony, how he speaks about it? And she seemed to think about it for a moment, and then she said, apparently not. So, and yet the energy that I experience from listening to Tony and Naho is very different, you know, or quite different, but not in a way that's jarring, just in a, it's just the beauty of, I mean, no two roses are the same, you know, no two snowflakes are the same. So, but there's a free, but what you
Yeah.
were saying before, and what you were saying before, it just made me feel like back when you're a seeker, and this is sort of what Nadja was saying about individuality. When you're a seeker, there's always this feeling that there's a place that the individual needs to get to, that there's a better place for the human to be, or a better way to act or be or think or feel. And this is just the freedom from that, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just this, isn't it? Just, it's always now, but not now. But that's the relief, isn't it? It's just incredible relief of not having to do anything, not having to get anywhere or be something or be someone or achieve or not achieve or just anything. It's just like so this nowness, whatever that is, good or bad, right or wrong, you know, it's yeah, there's just such an incredible peace in that, I find. And it's so ordinary. It's just, you know, ordinary.
And let's say if somebody was trying to tell you that you should be a different way, you would probably be less likely to take them seriously now.
Yeah, I couldn't really hear anything like that. You know, I just find it, yeah, people say what they say, don't they? And the way they're seeing things is going to be very different from the way I see things, and they're going to project things onto me. But that's you know, that's their prerogative, isn't it, to see things like that.
Yeah.
There's no trying to change anyone, or I don't have to speak to people about this unless it comes up. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to get or give. So I love watching you float around in space there, Art. It's like God. Like God. Floating around there in the sky with the moon and the stars. It's lovely. It looks like a real place. Like I can imagine being there.
Yeah.
Sorry, get away with the fairies today, I think. It's so lovely, isn't it? Everything's just so lovely today. Now, I'm in a good mood. Feel very happy right now.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing your happiness and your good mood and all of your beautiful pointers to that which can't be said. Francisco, I see that you're unmuted. Would you like to share?
Well, I am listening.
Yes?
Yes, yes, yes. By the moment I prefer continue listening. I think I don't have anything to Soon.
That's okay.
Addition to.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
that's okay. It's wonderful to have you here, Francisco, from
Thank
Uruguay.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you
yes,
all.
thank you. Oh, I see Carol has joined us. Hello, Carol.
Hi,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and to you all too. Just in
Hi,
from
Carol.
in from my eldest, so that's why I'm late.
No worries. Would you like to share anything right now?
Not this moment. I need to get my breath. Please, if that's okay.
Yes, of course, of course.
I will shortly. Just a day with two beautiful, gorgeous grandchildren, and who are 3 and 3.5, and my granddaughter is 2 tomorrow. It's so lovely, but yeah. So
Lovely.
I'm just going to take a minute. Thank you anyway.
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Naja, I see you've unmuted yourself.
Yeah,
Would you like to
yeah.
share?
A response to Carlton. It's like for me it was so much easier when I stopped already before, when I stopped labeling feelings. And for instance, when like sometimes before and in the morning this huge surge of energy came, and I before labeled it like anxiety or something, and this like already the story started rolling with all the worst options and everything. So when I just stopped labeling, because this is like when the mind didn't, when it was just felt, then it was so much easier. Then it just passed through. I didn't cling to it. And I experience when whatever I label, it's like I freeze it and I stop the flow or something. It's like this is frozen, like you said before with the electricity current. I experienced it the same. That's it.
Beautiful, Naja. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing there. There's no one, there's nothing. You could call it energy, but it's just flowing. That electricity flowing. There's nothing stopping it. It's all whole. The thing is, even if the body mind does something to stop it, like if you have an addiction, you go to a 12-step meeting, or you have a psychological issue, you go to a counselor. Even if that's what the body mind is doing, if you zoom out to the wholeness, it's all whole. The energy doesn't have anything stopping it. It's all whole. And nothing. No thing. Can't name it. You can't see it. You are it. But it's not anything new you can name or conceive of. It's prior to all the thinking of the brain.
Your head keeps getting chopped off, Art.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just became
Oh.
headless again.
Oh.
Totally.
I thought you were saying that as a metaphor.
Might be.
But that's what this is like. It's like as soon as you think you have a head, it gets chopped off. That's the beauty of it. You know, like it's like that. Yeah, the head in the tiger's mouth. That old saying. You know, you want the head to be chopped off, to be eaten, because there never was a head. There never was a body. There never was anything.
Yeah, it's a bit like being headless, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, there was this teacher named or author Douglas Harding. He came up with
that.
Yeah, he wrote a book or came up with whatever he calls it, the headless way. And I think what he would tell people to do is to look out to say that. Well, I don't know. He had a bunch of exercises. I'm not super familiar, but I know one thing would be to point outside of you and say, "This is me. This is me. This is me. This is me." You know, it's not the head. It's not the body. And it's not really what you point to either, but it's not, there's no separation.
I mean, unless you're sort of thinking it with the mind and conceptualizing anything, then what's going on really? I mean, what's going on without mind, you know, because what can be known without mind? Nothing can be known really. And it's like looking from everywhere. There's no looking through the eyes. It's just looking from everywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no looking through the eyes, is there?
Exactly.
Right.
That's how I see it, or don't see it. Yeah. This is Julie.
Hey, Julie.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Yeah.
Could you say that, Julie, how you see it?
Well, for me, I think it was in June. I was reading Tony Parsons' book, and the floor fell out, basically. And that's all I can say. It's like the floor fell out, and then awareness completely dropped. So prior to that, I was in this sort of awareness position, or seeing from what, like maybe the witness. I think Nisargadatta talks about the witness position. And after that experience or non-experience, I can say that really there is no looker or looking at all. Like there's no eyes, but somehow seeing is happening. That's the only way really I can put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, really. So like I say, words really don't happen for me so much, but I so enjoy listening to all of you. And it amazes me that people can actually speak, you know, on this non-subject. I'm blown away by it. I just love it. So thanks, you guys.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah, the seeing apparently happens, and then after the fact, the brain concocts the character that's doing it. That someone must be doing it. But the seeing is just happening. Everything is just happening.
It's like we've learned how to become a person. The person is a learned concept, isn't it? Since we were born, we've just been taught, you know, and everything's been squashed into this body. As it lives, you know, as if it lives in this body, because it's been told it lives in this body. You know, Anne was told she's this body and this name, and all squashed into this tiny little body.
Yeah.
But it's not true, is it?
No. I have no idea, you know, really even what's happening at all for the most part, it seems. It's like, am I alive? Am I dead? I don't know. I feel sensations. But yeah. So that's all. I keep saying I have nothing to say, and yet here they are. There's some words coming out, I guess.
Yeah, but who's saying it, Julie?
There's just nothing to say, and yet they're saying.
Yeah.
Is Julie saying it, or is it just apparently being said?
Oh, well, I couldn't answer that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what you just said was
No.
you don't know if it's this way or that.
Right.
Unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. This is absolutely not knowing. That's right. And yet there's a sense of like a known something, like it's known, but I certainly couldn't put words to it, really. Yeah, see, it just nothing.
And yet you seem to.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it shows up how it shows up, and and back to the UG quote again. UG Krishnamurti shows up uniquely for everyone.
Love UG. Yep. Yeah.
I can understand. I never used to be able to understand why the speakers said it might seem like I know this. It might seem like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't, and I don't know this. And I used to think, but you must know it. You talk about it really well. You know, you seem to know everything about it. But I understand what they mean now. I understand. They don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
Nobody could know, and I used to put so much confidence in them.
Yeah.
And want what they had, you know, and it's just this amazing not knowing. It's just like the best thing in the world not to know anything.
Isn't it? I know. Yeah.
And yet you've still all got all the intellectual knowledge. That doesn't go away, but it's just like boring.
Yeah.
In comparison, it's just like, so what?
Exactly. Yeah.
It is weird listening to somebody for so long, thinking that they know something and have something to say, and then that falls away, and you're kind of like, you don't know anything.
I had them on such a pedestal. I didn't even realize how high that pedestal was until it went.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't believe them that they didn't know anything. I thought they were just being humble.
I even apologized. I said, I'm sorry. I thought you knew something. It's like,
Apologize. I like that.
Yeah, it looks like Carol's having some trouble getting in.
Oh, Carol.
It's here, Carol. I see Carol.
She says my sound is gone. I can't hear.
I put a message up. I put a message up in chat. I'd gone off. Thank you, Julie. I think it was that said that. I put a message up in chat saying I was logging on and logging off and logging back on because I couldn't hear a thing. So
You're right now. You sorted.
Well, I've had to unplug my headphones because I can't hear otherwise. Don't know why this happened the other week. Then it was fine. So it was all right till about 5 minutes ago. Then it suddenly went. Anyway, I'm back and I can hear now.
Well, Carol, now that we can hear you and you can hear us, would you like to share?
I'm trying to start my video. Suppose you want to see what I look like.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Hi everyone.
What's on your mind,
I just words are just words. There's times I think when silence is enough, because there aren't the words that can sum up on Earth life what I want to say or others want to say. And sometimes I'd rather just not say anything than just talk for the sake of it. This is all this year. It was Anne that led me on this message, the apparent message, whatever it is, non-message. And I was struck by the lady who spoke and said about reading Tony Parsons and the bottom falling out. And I don't know when I crossed over that line, some stage this year, into, I think you go deeper though, deeper and deeper. And I always used to be quite afraid of what does this no thing, this nothing mean. And I think I was quite afraid of that because the way that we see it on Earth, it's like, it's scary. I stepped over the line, and invisible line, and I found that everything changed and nothing changed. That's the only words I have to sum this up, where I am.
Good words.
And that's where I am. Everything changed and nothing changed. When I do go back into character, which I sometimes do when I've got something going on, it's painful. I was pre-warned that that could happen. It's far, far more painful. Fortunately, it doesn't last that long, usually.
Yeah, maybe there's less story attached to what happened.
So my character sometimes, because I've had a damaged life, a lot of us have, but some more than others. Very difficult, strange and peculiar childhood, of which I'd recreated as an adult apparently. And there's been a lot of work on the character that I've had to do over the years, that the character's been led to, and that story has got more and more detached. Every so often it picks up again for some reason, and it did back in November time, all around this pandemic, and the character took over for a bit until I finally worked out what the hell was going on. It was a surrender, and I just feel that a little bit deeper. I don't know. Less attached. Like I said, everything changed and nothing's changed, and that's the same now. Everything changes and nothing changes. There's no other words to sum it up.
Yeah. Before it happens, chopping wood, carrying water. After chopping wood, carrying water. If there's, the character's wired how it's wired. I mean, people who like to be seen by lots of people tend to be the famous public speakers, because that's the way they were kind of wired, already. And then after there's a shift in perspective, there's the character is still like that, even though they'll tell you all day that there's no character. And it's just life living itself, as this, as that, Carol, as Art, as Anne, as Tony. It's just life appearing in all the infinite different ways it can appear.
I guess I've not learned that life and the character are separate but one.
Yeah.
I'm probably not making any sense with that. I don't know myself. I'm just talking out what's coming up right now.
Separate but one, yes.
Yeah.
It's non-duality means not two. So it can't be one or the other. It can't be separate or one. But if you say it's separate and one, you know, this sort of might get a little closer to the
truth.
Yeah.
I love, I think, is it Tony Parsons that calls God, as you do or do not understand, because I am a member of a 12-step program, so I think that journey has all been part of undoing the damage up to this, whatever this is. I love the Great Mystery, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what all this is, the Great Mystery.
Yeah. A mystery that can't be solved. A mystery that's somehow already complete. Doesn't need to be.
Yeah, the mystery is complete, and I don't think I'm looking for that answer anymore because I'm not going to get it. It just is. It is what it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. And that is absolutely okay, surprisingly enough.
Beautiful.
I guess people, go on.
I was saying that's beautiful.
I guess people find me different in this world out, will probably find me peculiar in this world as well, but in the so-called outside world. What led up to this apparent part of the journey was the passing of my second husband nearly 3 years ago, unexpectedly and out of the blue. And Anne brought me on this. That was the next stage, and I can say to you now about my husband, and you know, I love my husband, I miss my husband, my character does. He was and is the love of my life, and I grieve, yet not in a way that people know grief. Because although I know my husband as the dream, or whatever it is, has physically gone from sight, his presence, his love is still here. His presence is still with me. His physical touch isn't. I grieve and I don't grieve. I grieve in a very different way to what the average person grieves.
Yeah.
Might not make any sense. I'm not sure it does to me.
Well, there's no right way. There's no normal.
No. Yeah, that's true. My character can celebrate my husband on a daily basis. It's love. It's love and grief go together. The two of them go together.
Yeah.
And there is no loss in that. In one sense, it sounds mad. I know how I mean it, but there is no loss. There is the character's loss.
Yeah.
But there is no loss. It's, I don't know if anyone else can sum it up any better, but
And it's all energy. It's all complete.
mm,
And at the level of the character, there's a love, there's a loss, but that's just part of the wholeness. That's just like you said. It's not separate, and it is. It's both. The story, the Shakespearean, stage where everyone's a character on the stage of life. It's this play goes on, apparently,
mm,
and happiness and sadness, joy and grief all come and go within the wholeness, which is a total mystery, like you said. It's beautiful. It's like Tim said, the humanness that's where the beauty is. That's where
mm.
the love is. The experience of all of it doesn't need to be rejected. It doesn't need to be embraced. It just is. It's fine. Good. It's all taking care of itself.
I already, my character already lived a spiritual life before this, and I can't see that I would have gone on to this path if my husband had still been here. I was quite happy and content with my lot. Of course, my character losing my husband was a major kick up the backside. It's a very personal story, what happened, and the day that my husband passed, Anne knows the story. I'm not going to go into it all on here. It was very much, wasn't this realm. It was like in, I don't know, some sort of waiting room that day.
Yeah.
We realised what was happening, cut it brief. I surrendered my husband to whatever, and he just simply went to sleep and passed a few hours later. But why I say that is because I'd run out to get the nurses. I kind of knew, but I didn't know. And one of the nurses had me round the waist, and I have this feeling, I can still feel it in some way, of when they confirmed it, I just literally wailed my husband's name right down the whole of the hospital. My eldest son heard me and knew. It was like I was being pulled back out of a tunnel back onto Earth. And there was some sort of apparent experience then of something different. So wow. That's not, if anyone's thinking, oh God, I'm talking about my husband's passing on Christmas Day of all days, it's not meant to be in a sad way, because I celebrate my husband's life now as well. Just felt.
No, Carol, I felt a lot of love when you were saying that. Thank you for sharing that.
Welcome.
Lovely.
Yeah, you see the picture of two people when I've got the thing off, and may or maybe not, you might have thought, who's the other? The other one's my husband. That was a couple of years before he passed at our eldest son's wedding. Yeah.
It's a beautiful picture, Carol.
Thank you.
I like the umbrella.
That's me. That outfit actually, it cost me more than my own wedding dress did. Spent ages finding it and sorting it as mother of the groom. As mother of the groom, I didn't have as much to do, so I could spend time putting it together. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful day.
You have a lovely smile, Carol.
Who said that? No.
Julie. Julie.
Oh, hi, Julie. Thank you.
Hi. Hi, yeah.
Yeah.
It lights everything up.
Thank you. I think that's about me, who didn't think she had anything to say.
That's how it goes.
That's my gift today.
Mhm.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you for sharing.
It's amazing how we can all be just one on here, isn't it?
Mm.
It just feels so unified and whole, you know. It's so, the energy just gets so amplified.
Yeah.
And there's so much silence on this one. It's really beautiful, you know, the space and the, it's nice to breathe in that space.
Mm.
Winter, it's a quiet time. The solstice,
Mm.
it's a good time to be for the silence, really. So,
Yeah.
and but Dimitri, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hey Art, hey everyone, thanks.
Where are you calling from?
Moscow.
Very
Hey,
cool.
it's
Hey.
Julie.
Yeah.
Would you like to share anything, Dimitri?
Well, it was interesting last time when I joined your last Friday. I was actually in quite intense physical pain, and I joined sort of like in the middle of the call, and then suddenly you were sharing also about physical pain, and then saying like your head is in a tiger's mouth. And I was like, all right. And I listened, and I went into a shopping mall because I just couldn't sit still because my leg hurt, and I just wanted to escape that pain. And I was like walking, and I suddenly sat and started listening. And then suddenly, like, everyone was sharing about that, like about physical pain, like, and surrender and acceptance. And I was like, what's that? And then suddenly there was this like all pervading kind of silence, and just like Anne said, like there's like energy like in this meeting, and it's like suddenly it was like super still, and I was like still at the same time with the pain present. And then like I forgot about the pain, and like the meeting ended, and I just stood up and walked, and like the next day the pain returned. But it was like very interesting experience that for like last week I've been in this kind of state when probably 90% of it was like more like panicking about it and like projecting what will happen, what this means. And then there were like sometimes these glimpses when I was just seeing, well, here's like the pain, and the rest of it is just mental kind of anxiety. And I was sort of like flipping from one place to another. But it was interesting during the meeting, and also it sort of like points that this is like really a dream when I just out of the blue I just connected to the meeting, and then everyone is speaking about pain and surrender, and yeah, it was funny.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
How's the pain now?
Well, today is probably the first day when I when I feel normal. But it's like for a few weeks, it probably was like, I don't know, like the scariest thing for me I've experienced in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I can relate, Dimitri.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. This was the topic of last week, and it's but it's sort of the surrender, the trusting that life takes care of itself, that whatever happens is okay. And then the story, the grip on the story gets looser, and the stress of the stress that the story produces in the brain, it's not really good for the body. I mean, it's not easy to get rid of either when you're in the thick of it. But yeah, I guess that's a nice thing that can happen in meetings like this. That's very cool.
And about like the stress, actually, almost like each doctor, whatever kind of doctor, would end up saying like, stop worrying. It's like all because you're so stressed. And last year I was doing a ultrasound, and the doctor told me, like, imagine like you're in an open space and you're looking outside of the space down there, and like you see like your little tiny yourself, and like how important is that? I thought that's like a cool doctor.
It's a very cool doctor. You could probably tell him about Tony Parsons.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like that. That's the me, everything is happening apparently, right? It's the breathing, the body, the mind. But then the idea that there's a me doing it, that's where all of the stress comes from. Otherwise, it's like a river flowing. But the moment you say there's a me, you're putting a block in the river. You're saying this is the river, this spot right here. Bye, Julie.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we have 7 minutes left, just for everyone else. Yeah, that's where the stress comes from, is the sense of a individual, separate Dimitri or Art. Like, these words are just sounds describing a body and its actions. And what does this body come from? Other bodies, genetics, evolution? What does that come from? It all comes from, the Big Bang. That's one story. Maybe that's true, maybe not. It's all just coming out of nothing, really. And yeah, I think the more that we resonate and see that there's nothing to really see, there's nowhere to get, whatever's happening is okay. Then the character can travel lighter as a byproduct of that. Yeah. Well, we have 5 minutes left. Anyone is welcome to speak if they want. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is, we're going to have these meetings now the third Friday of every month. Also, I posted in the chat, if you want to know about the meetings that I host on Wednesdays and Sundays, you could send me a message on Facebook or email. I posted my email there. You can go to nothing.fm or Nothing FM on Facebook to see all the upcoming events. Jim Newman is happening next month. And just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I want to thank everyone for being here. Everyone who contributed and everyone who listened. It was a really wonderful meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Art, for facilitating this and hosting it, and your other meetings on Sunday and Wednesday. I just get so much from them. Just to be in these meetings without a main speaker and hear everyone coming from wherever they're at, you know,
Yeah.
with it. So beautiful. I just love it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I echo what Anne says without repeating that. I don't feel tied by, if I don't use certain language or words, I don't feel like somebody's going to grab me and
Chop your head off.
Yeah.
like that. Not say you can't say that, but correct me, you know. And I'm probably saying it like that. I'm just not using the correct terminology, so we can even get grammar police in.
Yes.
Non-dual police.
What do you say, Anne?
The non-dual police.
Yeah.
I've never been fond of police anyway, so it's good.
They're fine if they stay away from me. I guess they will if I'm not doing anything I shouldn't.
Wow. Thank you, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Are you on Sunday, Art?
Big love.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a meeting Sunday. And I like the heart. I wish I could do it. Can't do it.
So
yeah,
will the link be on the
yeah, so I'll post a link in the group, and for anyone who wants to know, send me a message or email. Yeah, there's a meeting on Sunday around this time.
Thank you, Art.
I love.
Thank you
Bye.
Karen, for sharing. Thank you, Naja. Thank you, John. Thank you, Anne.
It was great to meet you all.
Bye, all.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you, Loretta. Thank you, Francisco.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah, you too are. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.